So yeah, I'm Marek, Belski, and this is Toolbelt from 35 Plus Game Jams. Quick background, I am a software engineer turned game developer, like many others here. I started jamming in 2022, and I'm also the author of a suite of plugins for Godot. Yesterday I wore a tie to be on brand. Today, probably can't see them, but I wore these socks. So yeah, it's hard to talk about plugins without getting into the Godot Asset Store and the recent kind of changes that have happened. So for anyone unfamiliar, with 4.7, Godot started using a different source for its plugins, basically, where it was pulling the plugins from. And not every plugin has been ported to this new store. Some of the ones that I used aren't available yet here, so that's kind of created a bit of a drama. And also some of the ones I'm going to be mentioning are already on the front page of this store. They're featured. However, I don't think people, the only people going, I think, to the store right now are other plugin developers and people going to rate their plugins. So at least I hope this provides some visibility for some of those. Now, the way I tend to evaluate a plugin for a game jam is mostly around how quickly I think it's going to solve the problem that I'm experiencing. So some hints that I try to look for that it is going to be a good tool is that it is well documented, something that clearly defines the problem that it is solving and how it's going to solve it for me. That is something that really builds my confidence that that is something I want to use. Another thing, this is kind of more of my, where I draw the line. I don't want to duplicate any work. Some plugins, for example, a plugin that does button sound effects, but I have to replace all of my buttons with their button nodes, I'm not going to do that. Another example of an input remapping plugin that requires me to re-add all of my inputs in its own system, I avoid that. Basically, I hope that a plugin is going to respect the time that I've already put into my project, and if it doesn't, it's a red flag for me that I just won't use it. Also, another criteria I judge by is that since I'm doing a lot of jams and I want to have the most eyeballs on any jam game I make, I do release for web. So any plugins that prevent me from releasing to web, I don't consider here. Lastly, I mostly make 2D games, and most of them probably fall under the genre of puzzles or simulations. I'm also kind of a flawed person. I'm not above making a plugin entirely out of spite. But yeah, some people would probably say save the best for last. I might be starting with the best right here, and that is Dialogue Manager by Nathan Hode. This has been, for me, my go-to for when I am making any kind of narrative type game. It's really well made. The developer's very skilled and experienced. They're constantly updating it, and it's been around for a very long time. And then the dev themselves also wanted to highlight that they do have a Discord you can join to also post your games there in their showcase channel. The link is in their README on their GitHub page. Others I would try that seemed interesting were Godot Inc. and Sprouty Dialogues. Those are both in the asset store right now. When it comes to behavior trees, I think a lot of these under the hood, they're doing the same thing. They have the same features, so the key differences I've seen is more, how are you interfacing with that behavior tree? How are you building it and how are you debugging it? And my favorite here has been Behave. You can build the behavior tree right in the scene tree, kind of appreciate things that reuse the current editor layout. And its debugger is also just kind of awesome. It gives really good visibility into the behavior tree as it's running. It's also, they've got their, BitBrain has their own YouTube channel where they do tutorials for Godot as well. So they're definitely a strong developer to pull from. Also, this dev wanted to mention that they are making upgrades to the debugger. Apparently they've gotten some feedback about timing issues or people concerned about how fast it is, so they are adding just some extra benchmarks and things to their debugger so people have visibility on that. Another I would try from the store would be Limbo AI, though. Seems interesting. As far as Metroidvania systems, I know most people aren't making a Metroidvania for their jam game. I just wanted to highlight MetSys though, because it was just such an impressive plugin. It's by Ko Bei-Wee, who is a contributor to the Godot engine. So very strong developer. This plugin is just like, if you're making any kind of Metroidvania inspired by any other ones, it's got so many themes already pre-built in it. It's very easy to just customize as well. And then from the dev, they also wanted to highlight how easy they make the connections in between rooms. So as soon as your character basically goes to the side of the screen, it loads the next scene for you, transitions everything, moves the character over, makes it really, really easy. As far as like leaderboards and analytics, I had a background in web development, so this was kind of a space that I was kind of interested in potentially doing something in. But the tools that I found already here were really solid. So I would just recommend, if you want leaderboards, Tallow Game Services. Technically, I haven't used this one in a game jam, but I have used it elsewhere, and I've seen a lot of people use it for their leaderboards as well. So I'm fairly confident if I were to do a game jam and wanted a leaderboard, I would be using Tallow. It was really quick to set up. And they also have a pretty generous free tier. Others I would try though are Silent Wolf and Godot Firebase. I don't think Silent Wolf is in the store right now though. As far as first and third person controllers, basically all of the plugins I used to use aren't in the store anymore. I don't even really know that I would recommend them very much. So at this point I would just say I would try probably Cogito for first person, or this like advanced first person controller. There's also a generically named third person controller that seemed interesting. When it comes to terrain, these plugins that I used are still being like updated and they're in the Godot Asset Store. So one of them was, I think most recently I used Terrain 3D. It's a very like fully featured modern solution. I think it's a very strong one. Another one I've used in the past as well was Height Map Terrain. Also like easy to use, maybe a little bit like faster to kind of get set up, but maybe not quite as many features as the other one. And then when it comes to menus, a few months ago I might have liked arguing why my template was a stronger pick than some other templates in the library, but those templates aren't in the store anymore, so I don't really have much to gloat about. But I do have a game template that I always use for whenever I'm jamming. I've been making it since 2022, and it does take inspiration from some of the authors that I mentioned before. It is everything that I use for a game jam though, so it is a bit big. So I am trying to make a minimal version of it as well for beginners that won't have any auto loads, and I'm still trying to trim that down further. Though there were some other templates that I know are popular that I've seen used a fair bit. Another one by BitBrain, the Godot Game Jam, and a game template by CrystalBit. So hoping those authors do add their templates to the store. And also, if you have your own template, there's a niche now that is kind of not filled. So if it's simple, that's fine. And then as far as like utilities, these are just some quick ones that I've used in the past and I've enjoyed. A Shaker plugin for Godot, not currently in the asset store, but I like the interface for adding just shake to things. Script IDE for updating the interface for actually scripting in Godot, just another like nice interface upgrade. Yard, which if you have a lot of resources and you want to view them at a table, kind of like you would a SQL database, Yard has been nice for that. And that's it for me. So I'm Marek, Mac on Discord, and you can find my plugins by searching for MAAA in the Godot Asset Store. Thank you.
So you mentioned making some plugins out of spite.
Yes.
Tell me about your favorite spiteful plugin.
Probably FD's UIDs. I wasn't a big fan of when UIDs started being put into everything, especially for trying to make a plugin that is both compatible with the new version of Godot and old versions of Godot. UIDs were giving me a big headache, and so yeah, I enjoyed making that plugin and applying it to my plugins as well. So yeah, probably my favorite.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else back there?
What plugin do you wish existed that no one's made yet?
Ooh, I'm sure I have an answer, But off the top of my head, that's a hard one. I would love if somebody just made a plugin that was like, make my game, push a button, and it would just make the whole game for me. Like read my mind, actually, that would be great. Yeah, anybody else? All right, thank you very much.